God bless you today and welcome to Sunday School. I'm Elder Robert Wilson. I'm just so thankful to God that I'm here to be able to share another one of God's message. Now thank you for allowing Sunday School to be a part of your regular schedule. Now our subject today is the supremacy of Christ. The supremacy of Christ. We're going to be looking at Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 through 20. Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 20. Now, our Bible truth says, Jesus Christ is preeminent. He is preeminent. Now, we're going to deal with that word a little bit later. So, there are at least four terms or four words, key words that in this subject today or in this lesson today that we want to take a look at. And they are very important to this lesson. And they are, of course, supremacy, preeminent, fullness, and reconcile. We want to look at those four words in our lesson today. So starting at verse 15 in our lesson, it says, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. Now, the image of the invisible God. Now, this is saying that Christ is completely God and he's completely man. Completely God and completely man. Now, Christ is the likeness of God. Just as if we would go to our mirror and we would stand in front of the mirror, the mirror is gonna reflect exactly what's in front of it. As they say, what you see is what you get. So Christ is the exact image of his Father. So this is just how much Christ is of God. No, Jesus told his disciples, he said, if you see me, you've seen the Father, because the Father is in me and I'm in him. The Father is in me and I am in him. So Christ is the invisible God, the one that we didn't see, the one that we didn't get a chance to see. The main God that spoke, let there be. We didn't see that God, but we saw the other God in the form of Jesus when he came to earth. So Jesus is the invisible God made visible to us. Now he is the firstborn of every creature. He was the beginning of everything, and he has the rights that no one else has. We know in the Old Testament that the firstborn child, they would usually wind up with all the rights and all the privileges because they were the firstborn. So everything went to them. So they had rights and privilege that no one else has. So Jesus being the firstborn, being the creator of everything, he was here first. So everything was created from him. So him being the firstborn, he has rights and privilege that no one else will ever have. No matter how they try, nobody else will have the rights and privilege that Jesus has. Verse 16 says, for by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in the earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things was created by him and for him. Now John chapter 1 verse 1 and verse 2, it said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then it goes on to say that there was nothing that was made that wasn't made by him. So he created it all in the beginning. So he was there from the beginning. So it was the spoken word of God. When God said, let it be, let it be, let it be this and let it be that. This was the spoken word of God. But it was Jesus that did the work. Remember the spoken word of God. What is the word? The word is Jesus. So God spoke Jesus, and Jesus did the work. So Jesus was the agent that all things were created. He did the work. So he made the things in heaven. He made the things in earth, visible or invisible, whether they be thrones, which is a ceremonial seat for a person of authority. We know that princes and kings sits on the throne. Whether it be dominion, meaning sovereignty and control. Whether it be principality, order of angels, or whether it be power, command, or control. Now, all these are types of position of authority, and they was all created by him, and they was created for him. Meaning that no matter what was created, whatever it was created, no matter what was created, they were all supposed to give glory back to Jesus. So they was created by him, and they were created for him. Verse 17 said, and he is above all things, and by him all things consist. So everything comes out of Jesus. Verse 18 said, and he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence. So Jesus is the controller. The head is the controller. And he is the controller of the church. So nothing can be done without the head. Now, there are many places that are trying to have church or set up ministry without Jesus. Now, Jesus is the head, so nothing's going to be done without Jesus. They might set up this program and that program, but it's not going to be a full ministry program on the spiritual means unless Jesus is the control of it. Now, the church has been called one body with many members. Now, that's the same as our own body. We only have one body, but we have many members. We have our hands, and we have our eyes and our ears and our legs. So we are one body with many members. So Christ is the head of every man. Christ is the head of every man. So if Christ is the head of every man, now when we're talking about man, we're talking about mankind. We're talking about man and woman. So if Christ is the head of every man, and man is the member of the church, then Christ is the head of the church. This is so that this is meaning that Christ will have preeminent. Now, this is one of the words that we want to look at, preeminent. Now, this meaning that he has surpassed all other. There's no one greater. So Christ has gained preeminent. That means that he has surpassed all others, no matter who has a position here or who has a position there, degrees or title. No one is greater than the Lord. He has surpassed all other, all powers and all other principalities. Christ is above all. So there is no one greater than Christ. So Christ is the source of the church. He's the source of the church life. Church meaning the congregation or the assembly. Now he guides and he governs the church. Now this means every Christian. This is not limited to just a few members at a church in this state or that church, but all the believers that are in the world, all those that are called by Christ's name, he is the head of them. So that is everywhere. So this shows Christ's supremacy. This shows his supremacy. Now, supremacy also is that he has authority over all. He is supreme over everything and everybody. This is his supremacy. So he is in a state of being superior to all others in authority. His supremacy give him authority over all in power, and his supremacy give him authority over all status. So those three things: authority, power, and status. Christ has supremacy in all of those things. Verse 19 says, "For it pleases the Father that in him should all fullness dwell." God was delighted to have his Son to receive all that was in him. God's essence, God's nature, God's glory, and all of God's attributes, they were all in Jesus. All of this was inside of Jesus. So the fact that God has put all of these things inside of Jesus proves that he is God. This proves that Jesus is God because he has everything in him that God has. So all the fullness of God is in him. All the fullness of God is in him. That is the totality of supernatural, divine powers, and attributes. So this is what it means by the fullness in him. And verse 20 says, "And having made peace through the blood of the cross, of his cross, by him to reconcile all things unto himself. By him, I say, whether they be things in earth or things in heaven." Now, having made peace is doing what he did. The sacrifice that he made on the cross. Now, he was able to do what no one else could do, and that was to reconcile. And that is to change the attitude that we had towards God. We didn't have a good attitude toward God. So Jesus reconciled our attitude toward God. This is change the hostility, change the hate, the animosity, and change it to friendship. Now we now have a good connection with God because we have been reconciled back to him through Jesus. So who is like our God? Who is like our God? There is no one that can compare to him. We can't compare no one else to him in knowledge because he has all the wisdom. We can't compare no one else to him in power because he has all the power. He is all seeing. He is all knowing. He is complete in faith. He's complete in love. He's complete in righteousness. He is before everything and everybody. And by creating everything and creating everybody, he has supremacy over it all.